Hello, everybody. I am so glad that you're here. I'm getting started just a few minutes early just because I'm really excited for this. This is my very first live stream. So thank you for joining me if you're here live. If you are catching this on the replay or if you're catching it later, put hashtag replay somewhere so that I can know and see you later. So, oh my gosh, I'm just like super excited. So if you guys have any questions or considerations, please go ahead and drop them in the chat. I will do my best to answer them all at the end. As we are getting started here a little bit, I just wanted to take a moment and introduce myself. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Mallory Grimste. I am a mental health therapist. I specialize in working with teenagers, and I'm licensed to practice in the state of Connecticut and New York now. I wish the licensing laws were different, but they're not. I'm going to be going over that a little bit more again as we get into it. But while we are waiting for people to get in here, or more people to get in here, I should say, let me go ahead and get my stuff all ready. All right. Let me know if you guys can see that okay, or if you're having any concerns or considerations or anything like that. I'm just going to move this over to the side so that I'm not distracted. I'm just going to put in the chat, welcome. Thank you guys so much. I'm super excited that we hit 2K subscribers. I'm just going to put, if you have a question, leave it here and I will, whoops, if I can spell, and I will do my best to answer them at the end of this journal with me live. Oh, this is so exciting. I'm so excited to hang out with you guys. I don't know if I said that before, but I'm excited. Okay, so welcome to the Journal with Me, Find Your Purpose and Meaning. This replay will be available for a short time on YouTube. And then it will be uploaded as part of the package for all those free resources that you get that I've created if you sign up for free access to the self-care bundle. There's lots of really cool freebies in there to help guide your practice and your progress, whether you are actively working with a therapist right now, or you're planning to, or you have already moved on from therapy at this point, or just looking to amplify and keep that going. All right, so let's get this started. Can you relate to any of these? If you can, type a yes in the chat. Are you a deep feeler? Somebody who, when you feel, it's not just that you feel the emotions, you feel it in your bones, in your core, it is just part of you. I'm gonna raise my hand. I think y'all know, if you have been watching my channel for a while, that it's not a secret that I was often referred to as a very sensitive child, and I have been able to work that into the profession that I have now. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good at it. Other people think so too, so that's good. It's nice to know that I've been able to use that to find my own purpose and meaning. If you've ever been confused about what the next step is, go ahead and type yes in the chat now. It seems like, especially with teenagers, there's a lot of pressure to not only know what your next step is, but how that next step is supposed to set you up for life. I would like to take the pressure off a little bit, and I'm hoping that these journaling prompts will help you with that too. If you've ever thought about or considered, why haven't things worked out before? Why is it that other people seem to just kind of have life unfold naturally, no problems or limited problems, but it just hasn't worked that way for you? You're in the right spot if you have ever considered that before. If you find yourself overthinking, constantly on the lookout for the next thing to be worried about, or if you don't even have to be on the lookout, you just have lots of things to be worried about, and you just can't shake those worry thoughts. And then it leads to this overwhelm. And now, like, you're in an emotional chaos, you are in the right spot. We are going to help clarify some of that thinking for you today. And I cannot wait to help get you there. This is something that I hear a lot from my clients and from you guys here, even on the YouTube channel. You know, if you've ever like thought, like, what is fun anymore? Like, I just don't even know how to enjoy life. Like, it's hard to remember what fun was like. Like, everything is just work, work, work all the time, or like try to get to the next thing. This is a good spot to be for today. Or if you've ever considered, like, what's the point? If you've ever found yourself feeling hopeless or lost, or like you just don't know what to do, go ahead and type yes in the chat. I'm just going to, oops, I'm just gonna close out of this for a second just to peek in the chat. Okay. All right, so if you are catching this later, go ahead and add that into the chat. So I am flying solo today. My lovely administrative assistant, Dominique, who is like my saving grace, unfortunately had to be out today for a minor procedure. They're okay. But because of that, I'm flying solo today. You guys would have gotten to meet her virtually, but maybe we'll do that the next time that we have a live stream, if this goes well and if you like it. So let me know. All right. Before we get started, I do have to go over my little mini disclaimer, my legalese, that this is not counseling. I need to be very, very clear. Social media, including YouTube and even this live stream, is not counseling or psychotherapy. Social media in and of itself is inherently not secure or private. I think we all know that from all the celebrity leaks that we see all the time. Because of that, I cannot legally or ethically give out direct advice on social media. Just because I happen to be a therapist, does that mean that I am your therapist? And that would be a whole other process and procedure. If you have questions about that, I can certainly answer that at the end. I don't want to get too into that because I really want to get into the journal prompts. But I just want to make clear that just because I happen to be a therapist and trained in this does not mean that this means that I am your therapist. And if I am your therapist, I can't talk to you about it on social media. Please save that for our session, and we can talk about it there. And if you do need a professional and you do not have professional support, I highly recommend that you link up with somebody local to you in your area. Not only is that part of our licensing laws, at least here in the United States of America, each state has their own licensing process and procedure, which is why I have two separate licenses, one for Connecticut and one for New York. Not only is it important to respect the law, but I mean, ethically, if you needed additional support or in-office support or something like a hospitalization or a program, you need somewhere that you can travel to locally. So it's important that somebody is familiar with the resources that are in your particular area. That's part of the reason why they do that. It's really to protect you as a potential client more so than it is to protect us as professionals. So hello, I am Mallory Grimste. I am a licensed clinical social worker. As I said before, I am a mental health therapist. I'm going to stop saying that. I think you guys got that now. My pronouns are she and her. If you feel comfortable sharing yours in the chat so that if I'm responding to you, I'm not misappropriately defining or genderizing your name in some way that is not aligned with your pronouns, please feel free to do that. If you do not feel comfortable disclosing your pronouns, don't worry about it. I typically try to stick with they, them until I've been corrected otherwise. I am here to help teenagers cope and connect. I do this because I have a really deep desire to eliminate or at least reverse the rising trends that I'm seeing of increasing rates of teenagers struggling with suicide and self harm struggles. I have my own personal and professional histories in this, and it's an area that is near and dear to my heart. It's why I do all of this. My counseling services do include several team growth therapy groups and individual counseling. So even though we can do telehealth services, the clients do need to be physically located in Connecticut and New York. Sorry if you don't fit those parameters. You guys get to watch me here. And just know I'm not the only game in town. There are several others, well, not several, probably more than several, many other highly qualified therapists that bring the same light and energy that I do. Maybe even better. I don't know. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know, hard to believe. Before we begin today, let's go over 3 important things to consider as we're getting ready for these journaling prompts. The first is breathing. Please remember to breathe. A lot of times when we are deep in thought, or maybe if we're experiencing an uncomfortable or a difficult emotion, it's normal to find yourself holding your breath. Like, this is a natural stress response. It's okay if that happens, but if you notice it, try to practice breathing again. And don't necessarily work on like changing your breath, just breathe naturally. If that is difficult, I really recommend first trying to slow down your breath. So breathing slowly in through your nose, and then even slower out through your mouth. You can make the noise like me if you want. You don't have to. I like doing that because I get very distracted. If that is really difficult, or you find yourself experiencing such an intense panic or anxiety attack coming on, then I actually recommend trying to roll with the difficult breathing by trying to speed up your breath and then slow it down. It's that slowing down of that out breath that actually reverses that stress reaction. So that's why, as a therapist and lots of other people in this world, we really, really love deep breathing because it's the one thing that we can control when we're going through a stress reaction. So we can help thwart off or decrease the impact of something like an anxiety attack. All right, eye positions. If you are listening along and you want time to reflect before you respond or interact with these prompts, you can keep your eyes totally closed and just listen to the words as I say them. You can keep your eyes totally open and follow along on the screen. You can do what's called half moon gaze, which is half open, half closed, where you stare at something unfocused in front of you. Whatever you do what works for you. If you're somebody who gets highly distracted by your own inner thoughts, probably closing your eyes isn't the best thing. Or if you're feeling like too emotional, open up your eyes. If you're somebody who gets really distracted by all the stuff in the room, like, oh my gosh, there's that pile of laundry I gotta fold and put away, maybe like avert your eyes or try that half moon gaze. You can try out a few different eye positions and see what works best for you, or you might change it up as you go through this process. When it comes to seating, I really want you to get comfortable, but not so comfortable that you fall asleep. It's important to stay alert, or alert enough that you can sit with the experience. And I don't want you to be in such an uncomfortable position that like now your foot is asleep or something like that. If you can get into a position where you are sitting comfortably, that you can sustain during this process, that would be awesome. So that could be crisscross applesauce. That could be sitting down in a chair. I will be sitting in a chair because I'm also going to be actively guiding you guys through these prompts. Excuse me, through these prompts. If you are seated, I really, really recommend having your back flat against something. I don't know if you can tell with the lighting, but I have a back to my chair here. This signals to your brain that it's one less plane of existence that it has to protect you from danger. And the reason why I say that is because some of these prompts for many of you will be super mild, and for several others of you might bring up or stir up some unsurfaced memories or experiences that could bring up uncomfortable emotions or physical responses. So if that happens, this just adds an extra layer of emotional protection for you. And like in this photo, if you want to like throw in something cozy, like a blanket or something, I think that's a snuggie on me. You can do that too. A few just reminders. Please make use of your coping skills. If you do not know what coping skills are or what coping skills work for you, coping skills are basically any strategy that you use to hang in there through a difficult or uncomfortable experience. Please know that if you have to like pause or tap out or come back to this later, you absolutely 100% have this option. This will be available for a short period of time after the live has finished, and it will live as part of the self-care bundle. So that's a free resource curated program that I created that when you sign up for emails, you also get free access to this. There's lots of free resources in there that I've created for y'all. When it comes to journaling, do what works for you. If you're somebody who does better with writing and responding and interacting in that way, do that. If you're somebody who does better with drawing or painting or even collaging, some sort of expressive, tangible art, do that. If you're somebody who needs to like dance and move about to feel it or like shaking, do that. If you would like to just sit and just follow along and then maybe go back to these later, you can do that. There's lots of options. Those are just a few. I would be here all day if I listened to all of them. But just do whatever works for you. And again, if you need to pause and come back, that's quite all right. And please stay kind and curious. There's going to be answers and responses that come really easy and simple for you. And there might be some that like may need a little more marinating. For the purpose of this live, I will read each prompt aloud and then I will set my timer for 3 full minutes so that you have time to reflect and respond. Please stick around. I'll answer questions at the end. I also have a special invitation for y'all that are here live, so stay tuned for that. If you need more than 3 minutes, again, this will be available later. This is just to get the information out there right now. Do what works for you. All right, here we go. Who is ready? I am. All right, let me get my timer, my clock. I can like pay it. Actually, I'll use my watch. Here we go. Here is the first prompt. What are you most proud of in your life? All right, we're going to move on to the next question. When you wake up in the morning, what are you most excited about? We'll start our 3 minutes now. All right. Describe a day where you thought, I would do that again. Okay, before I go on to this next question, I just want to, or not next question, this next prompt, I just want to remind you all to use your coping skills. If you need to pause and take a break, you totally can. This next question could be potentially challenging, and that's quite all right if it is. Stay kind, stay curious. Um, and if you do have questions about anything, I will be answering them at the end if you're joining this halfway through. So, this next prompt is: what was your worst day? What happened? What did you learn? And are you glad that you had it? All right, your 3 minutes start now. All right. Next is: what was an experience, or if you have several experiences, go wild here, that you loved in school when you were younger? This next one is one of my favorites. And what was a moment in your life that changed everything? What moment changed the way that you think about the world and your role in it? This can go in a few different directions. So, if it is a pleasant, positive experience, or roll with that, savor it. If the moment maybe wasn't as comfortable or as pleasant as you'd like, or potentially even traumatic, um, honor that and take space for that too. And again, remember if you need to pause and come back, totally okay. We don't judge here. All right, you've got 3 minutes. And if you're holding your breath, don't forget to breathe. Okay. What makes you feel alive? So these are the experiences that spark excitement and strong feelings. Let's begin. All right, you guys are doing amazing. This next question is, when have you helped someone that you felt good about and it made a difference? All right, I've seen a few more people pop on, so I just want to remind you that we'll be spending 3 minutes on each question. And then if you do have a question yourself about anything, we'll be pulling this all together at the end. I'll answer all the questions in the chat at the end. I see, there's already been some action in there, so I see it and I will definitely get to it. All right, the next question is, have you been through a traumatic experience? How has that changed your worldview? Again, cannot reiterate this enough. Please don't forget to use your coping skills, especially for journaling prompts like this. Sometimes it can bring up some unexpected or unresolved emotions. And we don't want you spiraling out of control, but we definitely want you feeling what you need to feel too. So, coping skills make those possible. Um, Great one. Just put your back flat against something. All right, 3 minutes begin now. Okay, I know that one was a little bit heavier, so if you need a pause or break, please go ahead and take that. If you're ready to move on to the next question, we'll go on now. List three things that you want to change in your life or in the world. Your 3 minutes begin now. Next, sorry. Next, you'll list three things in your life that frustrate you. Sure, we could all list more than three, but stick to three. Right, you guys are doing amazing. I know that this is heavy lifting for some of us, and we've only got three more questions left, and then we will be pulling it all together in how this tunes into finding your purpose and meaning. What makes you cry? This could be sad, happy, excited, emotionally touched, passionate, frustrated. Just lots of emotions that typically tip us into crying. So consider what are the circumstances or scenarios that make you cry and recall and reflect on a few of those moments where you cried recently. What happened? How are you feeling? How did you recover? Did you recover from that? Um, just thinking about it now bring up tears. Um, I am a therapist, so of course I've got my tissues handy. So I hope you do too. And if not, here's a virtual tissue for you. All right. I wish I could be there in person with y'all, but this is the life we're at. All right, your 3 minutes start now. All right, I hope that you all are doing okay. And if you need to pause and use those coping skills, definitely do that. Take care of yourself. We've got two more questions, so here's the next one. What makes you feel alive? When was the time or the last time that you were truly happy? What were you doing and how were you feeling? This could be a small moment, it could be a really big event or circumstance. It could have been just a few moments ago, it could have been years ago. There's no right or wrong response here. You just want to really reflect on what makes you feel alive and happy. All right, this is the last journal prompt, and then we are going to tie it all together. So don't leave yet. Then I've got a special invitation for you, and then I'll be answering all your questions. This question is, what is it that you want to be known for? What do you want people to think about and say when they hear your name? All right. So you're probably wondering, like, why did I make you go through all those questions? Well, I didn't make you, but why did I ask you all those questions and ask you to think and respond and reflect on each of these? Um, this has a very strong tie to finding your purpose and your meaning, because it really is through our experiences and our interaction with those experiences and attachment to them that we can kind of hone in on that. So, the first step in being able to make that connection is to take a few moments and reflect on any themes that you happen to notice in your responses. So when I did this exercise myself for the first time, and even as I was answering now, my answers are pretty consistent at this point because I've done this exercise quite a few times. I do this a lot in my teen growth therapy sessions. Um, Let me say it in English: teen growth therapy group sessions. There you go. It's a mouthful. So sometimes I will do this alongside for my own personal reflection, but I will share with you here, some common themes that I've noticed in my own responses over and over again is that I definitely have a helper's and a healer's heart. And I'm not just saying that because like I'm a therapist. I happen to have chosen a profession that aligns with that really well. But yours doesn't necessarily have to be tied to what you decide to do career wise or whatever. Like for other people, you might notice that a lot of your responses and themes have to do with family connection. And so maybe that is your driving purpose and mission. Other people, it could be learning and educating either for themselves or others. There's lots of possibilities here. You might notice that your themes are painful or hurtful, or maybe they're really happy and pleasant, or maybe there's like this mishmash of confusion. If you're not able to define or articulate your exact themes or feelings with this right now, that's quite all right. I would recommend actually revisiting these prompts from time to time or really taking your time with them. If we had more time together, I would totally just go at your pacing. Um, but I also want to be respectful that, like, can't be here all night. So just take a moment and reflect on any things that you notice. If you happen to notice any and you feel comfortable sharing them, you can certainly share them in the chat. And if you feel comfortable keeping them for yourself, that's all right too. Um, right. And once you've noticed some themes, you might notice more than one. You probably will notice more than one. I want you to ask yourself the following two questions. And these are the key questions to ask that help you find your purpose and meaning. And if you can find your purpose and meaning and put it into words and not only emotions, this is something that you can use as a guiding post to reflect back on and anchor down when you need to just hone in on, like, why am I even doing this? Like, what's the bigger purpose? And is this like what I want to be doing with my time and energy? It will keep you on track and focused and keep your goals fueling your soul. So these questions are: what impact is it that you want to have? And what will be your contribution so that you can have that impact? These are the key questions. If you are like watching this on your phone or computer, like screenshot this. These are the key ingredients. And if you remember, so what is the impact that you want to have? My impact is I am highly motivated by reversing the trends of pain and hurt that lead to teenagers considering suicide and self harm. I've seen the impact as a teenager myself, which I like to think was not that long ago. Every year it gets a little further away. um, but even with that, that's definitely something that drew me to this field and this career path. I feel very fortunate that my life experiences have led me here and that I'm in a position where I can help others. And what will be my contribution? My contribution, I have several. I show up as much as I can. I'm a human being, so I have a plethora of emotions too, just like you. But I try to do my best to stay kind and curious to everybody that I meet and come across, even if they're being horribly cruel and mean to me. I try to empathize and understand their viewpoint. It might not change or articulate mine, but that is one way that I contribute the impact towards this, because my purpose is that or not my purpose, but my thinking around this is that if I can show kindness to somebody, that hopefully that's the kindness that they need and that they will pay that forward and spread it forward. Another way that I contribute is a pretty direct scenario. I became a therapist. I learned how to ethically and responsibly help in a healing profession that like very closely aligns to this. You don't have to align your career path with this. This just happened to be my personal path, which is why I share that. And I will tell you, I did not always know that. I thought this career path long and hard, and life has a way of being like, no, no, we are going to knock you back on track. I'm happy to share that story at another time. I want this to be about you, though. So I provide individual counseling and group counseling for teenagers to create that community and provide those coping strategies and communication strategies to help them feel good and purposeful about their lives. This is a contribution, creating this celebration and making it the live journal with me. This was so much fun, by the way. So if you like this and you want more, I would gladly reconsider doing more of these. I was very nervous to do this, so thank you. And the probably most obvious that y'all probably are here for is I create mental health videos for creating not creating but creating resources so that people know the coping strategies that can help with these situations, or the situations that lead to things like suicide and self-harm or problematic emotions. I totally do these for free. I actually pay to do these videos. I I work with a video editor who I pay very well for his expertise. I also pay my administrative assistant to help me out with some of this stuff so that I can balance getting these videos out to you. And I will tell you, I will share with you, I have never at this point in time still have never been monetized by YouTube. So YouTube doesn't pay me either. I do this out of the kindness and goodness out of my heart, not for a paycheck. This is my contribution and way of giving back to people who can't access therapy services or counseling or aren't in a position to do that or are looking to speed up or augment their own therapy progress and treatment. Okay, so I'm just scrolling through. Okay, so we definitely have some good questions in here. I'm like super excited to answer them. But before I do want to share with you just something to consider and invite you into another way that you could potentially work with me if that's something that you're interested in and that you think would be beneficial. So wouldn't it be nice if people actually listened to what you had to say and took you seriously? This was always my number one struggle as a teenager, and it's probably the thing that comes up over and over again. Many times the teams that I work with, what they have to say is really good, solid, clear information. The delivery could use some work. Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to keep explaining the same things over and over again? If people just like understood you from the start or quickly from the start? Wouldn't it be nice if your parents, your teachers, your friends stop trying to compare their problems to yours? Like, how annoying is it when like you're sharing your situation or your story, and somebody's like, oh, that reminds me, like my situation is so much worse, and then they go into their situation, and now it's like, wait, I was trying to get support from you. Now suddenly I'm supporting you, like. And that's a good, healthy thing to support each other. But like, you deserve support too. Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to end up in a puddle of tears or yell and scream for people to take your feelings seriously? I used to believe this. I used to think that the only way that somebody in a position of authority would actually took what I had to say seriously was when I showed extreme emotion, until I learned some of these strategies and skills on my path to becoming a therapist. And wouldn't it be nice if they didn't laugh at you or dismiss your problems? Can I get an amen? If those are things that you're interested in, I would love to invite you to be part of the Speak Your Truth program. So if you've been a long-term subscriber and watched a ton of my videos, you probably remember that last year around this time, I actually created this program with your feedback in mind. So this program was created for teens like you who want to go from fearing the unknown to embracing new opportunities. If you want to go from letting your emotions drive your decisions and instead letting them inform your actions, we got this in this program. If you want to go from feeling anxious and alone to confident and secure, if you're struggling socially to make those strong, meaningful connections, and instead would rather found yourself surrounded with good friends. If you want to go from feeling sad all the time to finding joy in the dark places. If you want to go from believing that you have to hide and lie about their struggles, and instead learn how to share these in meaningful ways that can actually rebuild broken trust. That's a key thing that has come out of this program that these strategies have helped with, especially when they're a teenager, because when that trust is broken, especially with parents, I mean, it's hard to get back to that level and beyond. And so much more, of course, then I highly recommend that you go to MalloryGrimste.com/speakyourtruth and you can sign up for this program. It is currently 3 different modules. They are based on the way I recommend breaking them up is by week, because there's a lot of information, even though they are like short bite-sized nuggets. It's a lot of information. I'm sure you guys even noticed with this, we gave 3 minutes for each prompt, but there's probably a lot more that could bubble to the surface if we had more time together. So week 1 is focused on what is your truth. This is all about discovering your intuitive voice, the purpose and meaning. Week 2 is all about speaking your truth. So now that you've identified it and you're already on the path with these journal prompts, so kudos to you. Week 2 is all about the strategies for what to say and how to say it. So this is how to be more effective in communicating what it is that's important to you. And then week 3 is focus on, so you did a thing. Now what? You said what you needed to say. This is something I see constantly in the comments of the YouTube videos. So if that is you probably want to invest in this program. How do you deal with the aftermath? Like, it's out there now. Like, what do you do next? Like, how do you keep talking about it? And how do you still maintain your own healthy boundaries while still staying curious and kind and open to other possibilities? There are some current bonuses in there. There are 14 affirmations for success. If you just saw my recent video yesterday, those are 20 affirmations related to coping with morning anxiety. These affirmations are different, and they're for your success in this, to get you into that mindset, like when you're rallying yourself up to speak your truth. We've got 3 guided meditations in there. And there's also 4 video replays of the How to Talk About Your Feelings series, which is what I did last year on Instagram, plus any future upgrades, which I am planning on redoing pretty much the majority of this program and really upping the quality, because I did this during COVID. And like you can see, I was still in my home office and my hair was not looking great. Total vanity. But there's going to be a lot of really good upgrades coming next year in 2022. So if you want in on this, it's still the early bird beta pricing of $197 until I make these upgrades. So you definitely want to get in on that now. All right, so questions. Actually, do you guys want to see how it looks if you go here? So why isn't this going? Ugh. Oh, I thought that would open, but it's not. Okay. I was going to share the screen, but that's okay. So questions, here we go. Active Living Challenger, thank you for joining. I love seeing your comments. I do miss your little synopsis in the comments, but I totally understand. You've got your own life. It's nice to see you here. So in a book that I'm reading about journaling, it says that I can use dialogues and talk to, or be able to talk to, parts of myself or to my therapist who's not really there. I'm confused by this. Can you clarify? So I'm not sure which book you're talking about. There's a few different approaches and theories that I'm familiar with. So granted, I only know what I know. So there's probably lots of different approaches to this. This is a really common exercise even outside of therapy. So if any of you guys are familiar, there is a workbook called The Artist's Way. Highly recommend it, even if you are not into that creative spirit. It is very eye-opening. It is a commitment. I will tell you, 12 weeks every single day you're doing stuff. I did it during when we were in lockdown. It was my 3rd attempt at doing it. It seemed that being in lockdown was the thing that made me commit and keep with it. It was great. But in that book, they actually talk about this idea of writing blurts, which is exactly what you're talking about here, Active Living Challenger. And that's where you write stream of consciousness. Let's say that in English. You write, let me take a sip of water. I think my throat is dry, and then I will explain blurts. So. All right, thank you. I've had a full day of sessions and then this, so getting a little dry. Okay, so blurts in this book are described as when you're journaling stream of consciousness, so your actual thoughts, and then literally responding back to those thoughts. So I actually do an exercise in my therapy sessions with clients that oftentimes when we are wanting to express something and we're not sure that we can, or we're not sure how, or something like that, I do this exercise called a release letter and then a response letter. These are not meant to be sent. They are for your own use and discretion. When we have in-office appointments, I actually shred the evidence because they're for your own benefit. And so the purpose of this is when you write something to somebody, whether you actually give it to them or not, your mind believes that you've actually communicated that. And so it gives some resolution and clarity about what it is that's important and how you want to say it, and perhaps even why you want to say it. The response letter, I think, is equally, if not more powerful than that release letter. The response letter is writing that response back to your original letter from the person that you wrote to, not from their actual perspective, how you think that they would respond or reply, but from the perspective that you would want or need them to respond in order to feel closure or satisfied with the outcome. What's great about this is, again, your mind believes whatever you tell it. And so that's why we love visualization and role play and acting out and all that stuff. So when you do that response, which is what this dialogue, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, you know, what I say about assuming, but I'm going with that might be what they're trying to do, trying to give you some clarity and possible closure there. So I would say try it out. There's actually a therapy style called Gestalt Therapy. I'll type that in the chat. So, whoops. Or actually, I'll type the book and also this Gestalt Therapy. So in Gestalt Therapy, hang on, you know what? I can't talk and type at the same time, so bear with me. Okay, we got that. So Gestalt Therapy is basically like, if you've ever seen a movie or a show where like they love taking therapy practices and really just picking and choosing bits and pieces out of context. But this is a pretty accurate depiction of when like you have an empty chair. So like you would say, like, perhaps the person that you're having trouble with or that you need closure from is your brother. And so you would say, imagine your brother is sitting in this empty chair here. What would you say to them? So this is use of therapy too. Did that answer that question, active living challenger? If you have more to say about that, let me know. I hope that helped clarify a little bit. I'm going to go to the next question that I'll like loop back. So you have another question. Says, I think this is a good exercise and helps. I also think getting out there and trying things or experiences makes it easier to find purpose. Oh, thank you. I agree. That's why I put the energy and effort into putting this together. So I'm glad you found it helpful. Do you ever sometimes feel your purpose isn't being a therapist? Oh, this is a really great question. I do struggle with this sometimes. Sometimes I definitely feel called and pulled into different directions because I feel very strongly about different things. I'm a very passionate person. I am a deep feeler, which definitely leads me to being a deep healer. So one of the things that I do is I go back to my original purpose. You know, I'm here to help teens cope and communicate so that I can potentially, hopefully, reverse those rising trends of teen suicide and self-harm struggles. And when I keep that top of mind and focus, it helps me make my choices. And it's always led me right back to being a therapist, even when I've considered like, oh, is this worth it? It definitely is, for me at least. It might not be for everybody. And I think it's actually really healthy and good to stay curious and question that from time to time. Okay. Next, English learner, you said, can I ask a question? What is your best way to recover mentally from a post-traumatic rape incident? My stepbrother admitted that he stole money. Does that mean Kevin Hart passed away tomorrow? Um, so these are a few different questions. I'm not sure the stole money and Kevin Hart passed away. So if you can clarify that, that might have just been something that maybe got like autocorrect or something. Honestly, when it comes from a post-traumatic situation, whether it's related to sexual assault or a death, or even just a really bad breakup, trauma can come in all different shapes and forms and sizes. And if your typical supports and your coping strategies are not feeling enough, or it is significantly impacting your day-to-day functioning, so like getting up, eating, sleeping, going to work and school, concentrating, all these kind of areas, I would absolutely recommend linking up with a mental health therapist in your area. I can't really give too much by way of that without doing a full assessment because each situation is unique. A lot of different programs and countries offer free crisis support lines. In the United States, we have the crisis text line, which is actually through a ton of different countries. They're present in a lot of different countries. I was like, what am I trying to say? But in the United States, the number for the crisis text line is 741-741. So I will put that in the chat. And if you Google, Google is great, or like any search engine, like crisis support in my area, you'll probably come up with your own local supports as well. Okay. Active Living Challenger, you asked, in your Speak Your Truth programs, you talk specifically about social media. Sometimes you put things on the internet you aren't proud of later and it can never go away. You know what? I don't talk about that specifically in that program. I do have a video that I share my thoughts and opinions about, is social media harmful for your mental health? And spoiler, it depends. But that's a really great consideration. I might add that as a bonus. So thank you for inspiring that. Thank you. Active Living Challenger, you said, yes, it does help clarify. I like the different alternatives I can try. Maybe it will work different parts of my brain. Love that. And I know you mentioned parts. That typically comes from, there's a therapy model called IFS, or internal family systems. I do not do parts work because I am not trained in that area, but I know a lot about that just from being in this world. So I think that's great. If that's something that's useful and helpful for your healing journey, go for it. An Active Living Challenger says, I actually don't think YouTube is the best platform for your cause. I think kids under 18 mainly use TikTok. Some doctors on YouTube only have a few thousand hits on YouTube, but millions on TikTok. Oh, thank you. I have considered delving into TikTok, but to be honest, TikTok overwhelms me. I actually don't have a personal TikTok because I find it way too overstimulating for myself. And, I could change my mind on that. I actually was encouraged for years before I actually started putting videos out there on YouTube to be on YouTube. And I was like, no. So, I mean, I might be eating these words at some point, but right now, I honestly don't have the mental energy to learn a new platform and learn my own personal boundaries with that. And I really like giving information in context, even though the information on my videos is what I would consider short form. Like they're usually several minutes long. They're not like hours long. This is long because you guys are hanging out with me, so thank you. But I right now I'm finding like satisfaction with the YouTube platform, and so that's where I'm living right now. I am on Instagram. I have started to consider delving into Reels, which I know is like sideways to TikTok. So I don't know, maybe at some point you'll see me on TikTok. And even though, you know, I agree, most people under 18 are probably on TikTok, they're still on YouTube. Trust me, I hear about it all day long in all my sessions. People reference, I saw this video on YouTube or I saw this on TikTok. And maybe you could hire a TikTok person if the Speak Your Truth program works out. I got to go now. Good luck with your channel. You're a hardworking and passionate person. And shows. Thank you. You know, I think that is a great ending note myself. So I'm definitely getting thirsty. Somebody keeps trying to call me too. So sorry about that. I really, really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for joining me for this first ever live. If you guys are interested in more, let me know. Don't forget that you can definitely sign up for the self-care bundle. This is free at MalloryGrimste.com/self-care bundle. The replay for this, excuse me, the replay for this and the slides that you saw will be part of that bundle. They'll probably be uploaded in there, if not tomorrow, later this week, definitely by Friday. Just depends on what the flow of the day goes, because I am still seeing clients. There will be no video this Thursday because this took a lot of time and energy, so thank you. And I'm just so excited to celebrate 2,000 subscribers. I never thought that I would make it to that. I definitely wasn't expecting that. So it's very, very cool. I can't wait till we hit even more. All right. Thank you all. I really appreciate you.